Every day, thousands of people ignore small health changes like back pain, fatigue, or indigestion without realizing these could be the early warning signs of pancreatic cancer. This cancer is one of the deadliest, with nearly 466,000 lives lost each year worldwide. But here's the good news. Research has revealed 15 early symptoms you can spot before it's too late. And number 14 is so often missed, it could change everything. Let's dive in. Have you ever brushed off back pain, fatigue, or just feeling a little off, thinking it's nothing serious? What if I told you those tiny signals could be hiding one of the deadliest cancers in America? Pancreatic cancer kills nearly 466,000 people every single year worldwide. That's almost one person every minute. And by the time most patients are diagnosed, 80% are already in advanced stages. The truth is, this disease is called a silent killer for a reason. It creeps in quietly, with symptoms so ordinary that even doctors sometimes miss them. And that's why ignoring the early signs could be the most dangerous mistake you'll ever make. But here's the hope: science has already uncovered real warning signs. 15 specific symptoms you can watch for starting today. Some of them will shock you, others may feel uncomfortably familiar, and one in particular symptom, number 14, is so often overlooked, it could change everything for early detection. This isn't about scaring you. It's about empowering you with knowledge that could save your life or someone you love. So stay with me, because what you're about to learn might be the difference between catching this cancer early or not at all. Let's start with one of the most overlooked red flags: abdominal pain. Picture this: you finish dinner, lean back in your chair, and a deep, gnawing ache starts in your upper belly and creeps into your back. Most people in America would blame it on indigestion, stress, or even the wrong kind of pizza. But research shows this pain can be far more sinister. A landmark study in the Journal of Gastrointestinal Surgery found that patients with pancreatic tumors pressing on nerves and organs experienced pain so severe it cut their survival in half, from nearly 29 months to just 9 months. That's not just discomfort. That's your body sounding an alarm. Here's what's important to know: if the pain intensifies after eating, eases only when you lean forward, or keeps coming back for weeks, it's time to see a doctor. Don't wait for it to go away on its own, because the earlier it's checked, the greater your chance of survival. But knowing this one symptom alone isn't enough, because there's another hidden warning that attacks your appetite itself, and it's even more dangerous. Now imagine sitting down to your favorite meal. Maybe it's a juicy steak, a fresh salad, or your go-to comfort food, and suddenly you don't feel hungry at all. In fact, like, just looking at the plate makes you feel sick. For many people, that's the cruel reality when pancreatic cancer begins interfering with digestion. The pancreas is supposed to release enzymes that help break down fats, carbs, and proteins. But when tumors disrupt this process, food stops being fuel and starts feeling pointless. Science backs this up. A 2019 study in The Oncologist revealed that up to 85% of pancreatic cancer patients experience dramatic weight loss, often tied to reduced appetite and nutrient absorption. This isn't just about eating less. It's your body's hunger signals being hijacked. Here's the tip: if you notice your appetite disappearing for weeks, not just a day or two, and especially if it's paired with fatigue or sudden weight loss, don't dismiss it. Talk to a doctor right away, because early detection could change everything. But losing your appetite is only one piece of the puzzle. Sometimes the next clue shows up as an uncomfortable and swollen belly that refuses to go away. We've all felt bloated after a heavy meal, but what if that swollen, uncomfortable belly lingers day after day, even when you've hardly eaten? For some people, that's one of the first subtle whispers of pancreatic cancer. Unlike normal bloating that fades after a few hours, this type keeps coming back because the pancreas can't release enough enzymes to break food down properly. Food sits in the stomach longer, digestion slows, and you're left with that constant balloon-like pressure. A large study in the San Francisco Bay Area revealed that 1 in 4 pancreatic cancer patients reported unusual bloating, compared to just 2% of people without the disease, a shocking 20 times greater likelihood. That's not coincidence. That's a warning sign. If you find yourself bloated nearly every day without a clear reason, it's time to take it seriously. Here's the tip: track your symptoms in a simple journal note: what you eat, when you feel bloated, and how long it lasts. This kind of detail can help doctors spot patterns sooner. But bloating is just the beginning, because when digestion truly breaks down, the next signal often comes in the form of stubborn indigestion that refuses to go away. Indigestion sounds harmless, right? We pop an antacid, blame it on spicy food, and move on. But what if that burning discomfort after meals keeps returning, even when you've changed your diet? In pancreatic cancer, tumors can press against the stomach or small intestine, slowing digestion and leaving food sitting in the stomach far too long. The result isn't just heartburn, it can be nausea, bloating, or that constant burning sensation that refuses to fade. And science confirms the danger. A study published in BMJ Open found that people suffering from persistent indigestion without typical heartburn had nearly a 4 times greater risk of developing pancreatic cancer compared to those without symptoms. That's a staggering link most people have never heard of. Here's what matters: if indigestion is stubborn, if it doesn't improve with normal treatments, or if it comes with weight loss or fatigue, don't ignore it. Get checked. Because when digestion really collapses, the next clue can be even harder to overlook: sudden, uncontrollable diarrhea that signals your body isn't absorbing nutrients at all. Now let's talk about something nobody likes to discuss: diarrhea. We've all had it after bad food or a stomach bug. But what if it keeps happening week after week, no matter what you eat? For some people, that's not just a stomach issue. It's a signal their pancreas isn't working. Normally, the pancreas releases enzymes that break down fats, proteins, and carbs. But when a tumor blocks those enzymes, food rushes through your system half digested, leaving you with loose, uncontrollable stools. Doctors have documented cases where persistent diarrhea was the very first and only symptom of pancreatic cancer long before jaundice, weight loss, or pain showed up. That's how sneaky this disease can be. Here's the tip: if you notice frequent, watery stools that just won't stop, especially if they come with weight loss or fatigue, don't shrug it off. It could be more than diet. It could be a warning your pancreas is in trouble. And when diarrhea starts mixing with pale, greasy, floating stools, the danger gets even clearer. That's the next red flag you need to know. There's another clue that often gets overlooked because people are embarrassed to talk about it: fatty stools. Imagine going to the bathroom and noticing your stool looks pale, greasy, or even floats on the water. That's not just an odd quirk. It's a warning sign that your body isn't absorbing fat the way it should. Why? Because the pancreas is the organ that produces enzymes to break down fat. When cancer blocks or destroys that function, fat slips right through your system instead of being digested. A 2024 report in Nutrition and Clinical Practice showed that when more than 90% of the pancreas's enzyme-making ability is lost, steatorrhea, those oily floating stools, becomes obvious. This isn't just a bathroom inconvenience. It's your body waving a red flag. Here's the tip: if you notice stool that consistently looks pale, greasy, or hard to flush, talk to your doctor immediately. Keeping a discreet photo log may feel awkward, but it gives doctors valuable insight into what's really happening inside. But digestion doesn't always speed up. Sometimes pancreatic cancer slows everything down, and that's when constipation becomes another silent warning. On the flip side of diarrhea, some people face the complete opposite problem: constipation. Now, occasional constipation happens to everyone, but when it becomes chronic and stubborn, it could signal something deeper. Pancreatic cancer can disrupt digestion in both directions instead of speeding things up. Tumors may slow the movement of food through the intestines, leaving stools hard, dry, and painful to pass. On top of that, many patients are prescribed opioids for pain, which only worsens the slowdown. What's shocking is that new research in Frontiers in Oncology in 2024 found a potential causal link between persistent constipation and pancreatic cancer, showing a 1.56 times higher risk for those struggling with it long term. This means constipation isn't just a side effect, it may be a piece of the puzzle itself. Here's the tip: don't ignore ongoing constipation, especially if it comes with abdominal pain or unexplained weight loss. Simple changes like increasing water, fiber, and gentle daily movement can help. But if it persists, medical evaluation is a must. And while the gut sends powerful clues, pancreatic cancer doesn't just affect digestion sometimes. The disease literally eats away at your muscles before you even know it's there. Weight loss might sound like a good thing in today's culture, but when your muscles start shrinking without trying, that's a danger sign you can't ignore. Picture stepping on the scale and realizing you've dropped pounds, even though your diet and activity haven't changed. Or maybe you notice your arms and legs looking thinner, weaker, almost hollowed out. This isn't normal aging. It can be pancreatic cancer silently stealing muscle mass. A 2023 study in Nature Communications discovered that skeletal muscle loss could be detected up to 18 months before diagnosis, showing that wasting isn't just a side effect of late disease. It can be an early red flag. Scientists even identified tumor-released factors, like POF, that literally break down muscle tissue. The result is fatigue, frailty, and poorer treatment outcomes. Here's the tip: don't brush off unexplained weight or muscle loss. Track your strength, your clothing fit, and how your body feels week by week. If you're losing muscle without reason, bring it up with your doctor right away. And while weight loss is visible on the scale, another hidden clue often stares back at you in the mirror: the unexpected change in your skin color. Sometimes the body gives us warnings we can actually see, and one of the most striking is a sudden change in skin color. You might glance in the mirror and notice your skin looking pale, grayish, or even developing a yellow hue, especially in the whites of your eyes. Friends might comment that you don't look well, even when you feel fine. This is often caused by a tumor blocking the bile duct, leading to a buildup of bilirubin in the blood. Doctors call it jaundice, and it's one of the most common visible signs of pancreatic cancer. A study in clinical gastroenterology and hepatology confirmed that jaundice and bile duct obstruction symptoms, like pale stools and dark urine, were far more common in pancreatic cancer patients than in healthy individuals. Here's the tip: if you see your skin tone change without reason, don't dismiss it as aging or stress. Get checked quickly, because when it comes to jaundice, timing makes a huge difference in outcomes. And here's something even more surprising: pancreatic cancer doesn't just change your skin. In some cases, it can trigger an entirely new disease, diabetes, that appears almost overnight. Now, here's a warning: most people never expect sudden onset diabetes after the age of 50. Imagine going in for a routine checkup only to be told your blood sugar is sky high, even though you've never had issues before. For some, this isn't just type 2 diabetes creeping in. It can actually be pancreatic cancer disrupting the pancreas's ability to produce insulin. Research shows about 1 in 4 pancreatic cancer patients were diagnosed with diabetes within 3 years before their cancer diagnosis. And studies estimate nearly 0.8% of new diabetes cases after age 50 are linked to hidden pancreatic cancer. That may sound small, but it's dramatically higher than the average population risk. Here's the tip: if you or someone you know develops diabetes later in life, especially if it's paired with unexplained weight loss, fatigue, or digestive changes, push for deeper testing. Don't settle for just a prescription. Make sure doctors rule out the underlying cause. Because while blood sugar changes are invisible, the next warning sign can appear suddenly and dangerously in your veins: blood clots that seem to come out of nowhere. Sometimes the first sign of pancreatic cancer isn't in your stomach at all. It's in your veins. Imagine waking up with sudden swelling in your leg, or finding a clot in an unusual place like your arm or chest wall. Doctors call this Trousseau's syndrome, and it happens because pancreatic cancer can make the blood abnormally sticky, creating a higher risk for dangerous clots. A 2024 study in cancer medicine followed over 4,000 pancreatic cancer patients and found that more than 4% experienced serious blood clots in the year before diagnosis, often before any digestive symptoms appeared. Even more alarming, patients who developed clots had worse survival outcomes. Here's the tip: if you or a loved one develops an unexplained blood clot, especially if there's no history of injury, surgery, or long travel. Don't ignore it. Ask doctors to dig deeper, because sometimes clots are the body's early SOS signal. And while clots can be life-threatening, another hidden warning often shows up right on the skin itself, not as color this time, but as relentless, unexplained itching. Now let's talk about a symptom that most people brush off as nothing: itchy skin. We all get the occasional itch, maybe from dry weather or an allergic reaction. But when that itching is constant, spreading, and has no clear cause, it could be something far more serious. In pancreatic cancer, tumors often block the bile ducts, allowing bile salts to build up in the bloodstream. These salts irritate nerve endings, creating an itch that no cream or antihistamine can fully relieve. A recent 2025 review highlighted how the enzyme autotaxin increases certain compounds that activate itch-specific nerve fibers, meaning the irritation isn't just on the surface, it's biochemical. Here's the tip if you experience relentless itching, especially alongside yellowing skin or dark urine. Don't just treat the surface, get a full checkup. Addressing the root cause could bring real relief and might even save your life. And while itching feels uncomfortable, the next hidden sign can be downright alarming: persistent fevers that show up without infection. Fever is something we usually link to the flu or an
I am
infection,
so
but when it
tired.
lingers
I
without
am
a clear reason,
thirsty.
it can sometimes point to something much more serious. In pancreatic cancer, the body's immune system may react to the tumor itself, creating what doctors call a neoplastic fever. There are even documented cases where fever was the very first and only symptom, and once the tumor was removed, the fever disappeared completely. A large-scale Danish study also revealed that fever was one of the recurring symptoms noted in the years leading up to a pancreatic cancer diagnosis, showing just how sneaky this disease can be. Here's the tip if you or someone you love has a fever that keeps coming back, without infection, injury, or any other explanation. Don't ignore it. Persistent fever deserves investigation, especially if it's paired with weight loss or fatigue. And speaking of fatigue, the next symptom isn't just about feeling tired, it's a crushing exhaustion that can take over your entire life. Fatigue is one of the most underestimated warning signs of pancreatic cancer, and it's not the kind of tiredness you shake off with a good night's sleep. Imagine waking up after 8 hours in bed and still feeling like you can't get through the day. Even simple tasks, walking the dog, cooking dinner, or climbing a few stairs, feel overwhelming. Patients often describe it as a deep, crushing exhaustion that lingers no matter what they do. At an oncology center in northern Italy, researchers found that an incredible 94% of pancreatic cancer patients reported fatigue during treatment, with older adults and women experiencing it the most. Factors like anemia, muscle loss, and inflammation from the tumor all feed into this exhaustion. Here's the tip if fatigue is new, constant, and far beyond normal tiredness, especially when paired with weight loss, jaundice, or digestive changes. Don't dismiss it as stress or aging. Bring it to your doctor's attention right away. And here's the truth: fatigue is devastating, but sometimes the body whispers even more subtly with an overall feeling of being unwell, a vague sense doctors call malaise. And that's the final clue you need to know. Sometimes the body doesn't send sharp warnings like pain or fever. It whispers more quietly through a vague, persistent sense of just not feeling well. Doctors call this malaise, but to patients, it feels like living in a constant fog: no energy, no drive, and no clear explanation. You can't point to one symptom, but you know something isn't right. A massive Danish study analyzing over 25,000 pancreatic cancer cases found that malaise and fatigue were frequently reported in the years leading up to diagnosis. Another large UK study revealed that patients with unexplained malaise were 2.4 times more likely to be diagnosed with pancreatic cancer compared to those without it. That's why even this vague symptom matters. Here's the tip if you or someone you love has been feeling unusually unwell for weeks or months with no cause identified. Don't just push through, document the changes and get evaluated. Early detection could make all the difference. And now that you've seen all 15 warning signs, Let's pull them together, reflect on what they mean, and talk about the steps you can take today to protect yourself and those you care about. So let's take a step back. We've uncovered 15 silent warning signs of pancreatic cancer signals that may seem ordinary at first, but can hold life-changing importance if you pay attention. The truth is, early awareness gives you power. By listening to your body, writing down changes, and seeking medical help when something doesn't feel right, you're already taking the most important step toward protecting your health. And I want you to remember you are not alone in this. Millions of people are on the same journey of staying proactive, staying informed, and fighting for more healthy years. Your story matters, and your choices today can make a difference tomorrow. If this video opened your eyes, tell us in the comments which symptoms surprised you most. We read and respond to as many as we can. And don't forget to save this video so you can revisit these signs anytime. And subscribe to our channel for the latest science-backed insights, not just on cancer, but also on keeping your kidneys and overall health strong. Together, we're building a community that supports one another with real knowledge and real care. And here's the hopeful part. Catching these signs early doesn't just change statistics, it can change lives. Stay curious, stay proactive, and never forget your health is worth protecting every single day.